What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Yala, your thrice weekly podcast where we talk about the hottest news, the most interesting topics, and some very interesting people with a touch of what, Terrence?
Good old humor, man.
Good old humor, man.
Wow.
And today is another one of those episodes. We have someone very special in front of us.
Yes.
Who we had seen just a few weeks ago.
Yes.
But he's back because got some fresh news. Got some exciting news. So, welcome back, Rion.
Yes. And some fresh minerals, or metals.
Metals on the table, on the table. Yeah. Welcome back.
I guess this is when I unveil it, right?
Oh,
wow. For those listening, Rion is holding up two very, very important pieces of
recent
and important pieces of metal, which are
his SEA Games silver medal.
Yes.
The one.
And that one you won it on, what was the date you won it?
11th of May.
And that was for the
10,000
meters.
Yeah.
And the other medal is for your recent one in...
The other one was the one in Taiwan recently. So it was, this was 27th of May. So about 16 days after the SEA Games.
16 days after the SEA Games. So like 3 days ago.
3 days ago, yeah.
Wow. And that is silver for?
10,000 meters as well.
10,000 also.
Wow. You guys, I don't know if you all heard the
you guys
clunk.
should wear one each. Come.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I don't dare. Later with Salt Bay World Cup. You all know what happened. But you all heard the clunk on the table when he put the SEA Games medal down. It's heavy, man. It's heavy.
Yeah, it's quite heavy.
Yeah.
Like how, okay. Just for wow. It's like, it's so dense. I can't believe it, man.
Yeah, and
it's
when he came into our office, I told him, hey, Rion, I was expecting you to walk in with like the medal and all. Then he took it out from his pocket. I was like, all right, man.
Whatever belt he's wearing must be damn strong because it's holding his pants together, even with that medal inside. It's so heavy, man. It's so heavy.
And it's cool to see this because the last time you were on our podcast, which was sometime in April, we were talking about the lead up to the SEA Games. Where you were going to be running for the first time after the past two SEA Games you were not part of. And I remember you telling us that you had less time to prepare than you normally did.
6 weeks, right?
6 weeks. You had certain things that maybe different from how it was for the last time. So when we were watching also from Singapore, you won the medal. We were like, oh, fuck yeah. And I think a lot of people online were feeling the same way. So just wanted to hear from your perspective what that whole thing was like.
Yeah, I mean, it was an incredibly exciting last 6 weeks leading up to SEA Games. Like, no athlete prepared for these games with like only 6 weeks of notification. Like, you're going, like, start getting ready. So
across all sports, you mean?
Across all sports, all nations, because all nations only will confirm their team, like, months in advance, like 3 months in advance.
Okay, so you're saying your situation was the special one, the 6 weeks?
In the whole of Southeast Asia, I don't think any athlete got a notification 6 weeks before that, he was going to be doing SEA Games. So the last 6 weeks was, didn't really have time to, I think you guys may have asked a few questions the last time about, opponents and everything. I didn't really have time to do research on any opponents because I had to scout in my own fitness first. If my fitness wasn't up to standard, there's no way I can even worry about anyone else. So I would say that I managed to get into like 90% shape. Like in those 6 weeks, it was quite a crash course. Obviously, some things were missing from my final prep because it wasn't enough time. But I got into fairly good shape. If you see both my races, I think I was right there with in contention until like the last lap or the last 2 laps, and I think that was like the bulk of it. Like, if there's one thing missing from my prep, I felt that last lap finishing sprint wasn't quite there because I didn't have time to work on that. I had to, if you want to get in shape, first you take care of your aerobic fitness. You make sure you are able to stay with the pack at a consistently fast pace all the way to the end. And then the cherry on top of the cake is you're able to finish the race like incredibly quickly with a fast last lap. I didn't really have time to build up that. So, but that's what separates sometimes medal from no medal or gold from silver.
So that in itself is a process, is it? To go from like, to train, your baseline and then the last lap.
Yes.
And this is because of the 6 week prep time. You just didn't have a lot of time to really
I think
focus on things.
It was a small miracle already that we could get ready to stick with the pack for as long as we did. And in the 10,000 meters, actually it helped me that it was incredibly challenging conditions. It was very hot, very kind of humid as well. It was like a lot of the runners in that race like perform below their usual standards. For the whole, I think it was 15 guys who started the race. I was the only one who ran a personal best. Like everyone,
is it?
Yeah, so I was able to break my own personal best, whereas everyone else was just struggling to get within one minute of their personal best. Some ran 2 minutes slower, some ran 1 minute slower.
And why is that just the heat?
The heat does make a big difference. Like it was 35 degrees the day of competition, so that's incredibly challenging physiologically, but more than that, psychologically.
But I would have thought they would have also come from it's all Southeast Asia, right?
Yeah, but their personal best was most probably set in better weather. I mean, even Southeast Asia, we have good days, we have bad days. If you run in December in Hanoi, for example, you can get 15-degree days, and it was 35, so it was like more than double.
But can you walk us through a little bit of the lead up to the race? Like, how were the conditions? Like, how was your resting in the village and prior to that?
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about on this front. So, okay, what do you have in mind? Like, let's say accommodation wise, what do you guys have in mind? What because athletes go through?
Like what you're describing, like the heat, we can't feel it from watching it. All we watch is the race itself, right? But like the act of the fact that you within 6 weeks you were prepping and everything, getting your body ready, and then how were the conditions of the village and the fact that you haven't been back to the SEA Games in a while, and maybe you see familiar faces, and how you felt like the night before the race, and in terms of like how do you manage to even get sleep and all things like that. I'm sure you're excited, but like how was it?
Yeah, so this was the first time I was in an athlete's village. So my first two SEA Games, Singapore and KL, we were both in hotels. Singapore, we were in Swiss hotel. Malaysia, I can't remember which hotel, but it was a nice hotel as well. So hotels are different from games villages in the sense that when there are hotels, you will never have the whole, like all the contingents in one hotel. It was different hotels.
Yeah.
So you won't see everyone. But in the games village, you see everybody.
Every night.
Everybody.
Nobody gets any sleep.
United Nations. Socially, it's actually great because it's the only time that for example, for many of us, you see like every athlete from almost every sport in the same village, and like it's quite special when, especially, let's say if Joseph Schooling goes for SEA Games like that, and he's in the athletes village, you have multiple athletes from multiple countries, multiple sports, like wanting to take photo with someone like Joseph because he's an Olympic champion, you see.
So it's not like they walk past each other, then like tell each other, then angry with each other and all that kind of thing.
I mean, different characters, different ways of dealing with the situation. Some people more tau than others, but in general, I think people are quite friendly. Yeah, it's kind of a what's the best way to put this? It's kind of like a college orientation atmosphere.
Got it.
And you put a lot of like fit, somewhat attractive people from different countries together, right? And then you have the guys are obviously checking out girls from different countries and that kind of stuff. Those kind of things happen, so it's quite entertaining.
But how come the first two SEA Games you didn't stay in the village?
Singapore didn't have a games village, and Malaysia didn't have a games village either.
I would have thought Malaysia, Singapore, I would assume no games village. I thought Malaysia would have had a games village.
Yeah, I didn't have. Cambodia, they actually built this complex to be a games village, and now they're going to use those as condos. So you can go and buy now.
So, but it's like a room and a condo kind of thing with aircon or no aircon or?
Got aircon. Thank God there was aircon, man, because it would have been unbearable without aircon. But that being said, some of the aircon didn't work.
Yeah. It's like BMT like that.
Exactly. So you guess how many to one apartment? Like 2-bedroom apartment. You guess how many athletes to one apartment?
2 bedrooms. I guess 4.
So my apartment, there were 7 athletes to one apartment.
7
Wait,
athletes.
How do you squeeze 7 in a 2-bedder?
Exactly. So 3 in the master bedroom with a toilet, 2 in the small bedroom, and then 2 in the living room.
But who decides how many per room?
I think that a certain number of rooms are given to each country, and it's up to the Olympic Council to distribute to each federation. Like track and field, for example, we had we had a big apartment for. We had one big and one small apartment for our entire guys team. So the big apartment had 11 guys in the same apartment, and my apartment was 7.
What then? Everyone has beds or what? You sleep on the sofa or something?
Beds. Everyone has beds.
Everyone has beds.
Yeah, small beds.
So how you all decide? How you all decide who got more medals or who got?
So this is interesting because like my team track and field, we had a total of 4 apartments for the athletes. So 2 for the ladies, 2 for the men. Men we had like 11 plus 7. We had 18 men. And the one in charge of splitting the rooming situations, I think we had a team manager who did the first cut, and then the SA team manager, the assistant team manager does the first cut, like pairs everyone up, or like twos or threes, and then the team manager like does the second round of checking just to avoid any potential conflicts. And and he was quite good at his job, because there was one situation where he spotted that this girl and this girl together, like they don't get along, so they cannot.
For real?
Then he was like, "What the fuck? Cannot."
It's like reality TV, man.
He's like planning a wedding dinner, lah.
Yeah.
Exactly. No, it is, and these are the things that most people don't see.
And
right?
you cannot appeal or something. You.
I mean, like, once. I mean, if you want to make a choice known, right? You say, "I don't want to room with this person." You must let them know in advance, because once it's split, it's complicated, right? Because you need to mutual swap. It's happened before SEA Games where, I think one of the previous SEA Games, one of the athletes, like, she cried because she really couldn't stand her roommate. Then they had to do some internal swap. And
also, it's always like assigned. So I mean,
assigned.
Is it a thing like for, I don't know, like the Olympic Village or something? Is it normally like, is the ratio of athletes to room?
Olympics is usually good. Like it's 2, maximum 3 to 1 apartment or one room. Yeah. But that's Olympics. This is
correct.
Cambodia SEA Games first time hosting. So I didn't make any requests for roommates or whatever. I didn't even know it was 7 to a room until 7 to a apartment until we got there.
Then you were like, just drop your bags and you're like, what the fuck? Was that how you feel?
Okay, so this is quite interesting. So we got into the games village, right? And then collected and we were supposed to collect our keys. So like our team manager was Shalindran. So Shalindran was like, hey, everyone gather. We're gonna I'm gonna let you know your rooming arrangements. He'll be like, okay, this is apartment 1. Apartment 1 will be 7 of you. The rooming situation will be, like A and B, C, D, and then E, F, and G. Yeah. So he'll tell you room 1, room 2, room 3. He won't tell you which room you're taking, but it's room 1, room 2, room 3.
Okay.
So that was what I understood. And so for him, it's like, Rion, you are with Chen Xiang. And then we look at each other, we celebrated, because like 2017, Chen Xiang and I roomed together.
Oh, wow.
And it was a good rooming arrangement. Chen Xiang is Dr. Ang Chen Xiang, he's a pediatrician. He won the gold medal in the 110 meter hurdles.
Okay.
Yeah. So, very organized guy. He said, okay, Rion, I'm gonna we're gonna go for breakfast at this time. This time to this time we'll nap. So he will nap, and then I'll just go along with his schedule. So he's quite organized and disciplined.
Okay.
Yeah, but some of these other athletes, every athlete is different, right? Some more free spirited. Some are there with less time discipline than others. So if you're a roommate and you don't get along, it can be quite a challenging week. Yeah. I mean, like, especially such close quarters.
Yeah. And you'll find out on that day itself, not beforehand.
Yeah. Nobody knew until beforehand. So there was one situation, one of the guys, okay, it's you and you. And one guy, he shouted like, what the fuck, this guy? Because I think they had roomed together in the past, and his roommate was very messy. Then he was hoping he wouldn't get paired with this same guy.
I see.
That's why we were laughing.
But that has a real effect on athletes' performance.
Of course.
Right.
I mean, like,
it's crazy
that's your entire mindset, for the rest of the week.
Oh man.
Yeah. I mean, and they're all okay people. It's just that some less compatible with others.
Of course.
I was quite lucky. Chen Sang and I were quite compatible. But anyway, Chen Sang and I, but it was also 5 others in the apartment. So and we didn't know the layout of the apartment, so we all took our luggages. We went up, and then I had the key lah. So I think they paired Chen Sang and me also, because we were like I was the oldest man on the team, and Chen Sang was second oldest man on the team.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So maybe sometimes it's by event, sometimes by age.
Yeah.
It was really like who Shalendran thinks will work well together. So like he has to do a good job. Like if he doesn't know the athletes, then you put 2 people who don't get along, then jalat lah.
Yeah.
More so for girls. Like guys generally more easygoing, but the girls
just want to say
more complicated. Really. If you look at the personalities. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I guess as one of the more senior members also, they know that when you're younger, generally people they're not so disciplined about certain things and all that. But as you get older, you know what you need to do and everything. And so it's better for you that there's some structure and they pair you with someone who also similar like that.
I mean, you can go both ways. Like, the argument against that would be you pair the old ones with the young ones, then the old one can jaga the young ones, right?
But then it becomes your problem lah.
Yeah, exactly. Correct. Yeah. So it depends on which. I mean, that's why it's a team, right? Like like it's a team.
So that means it must be quite exciting. Like you're arriving and like the village must be quite buzzing with energy because everyone's arriving.
Yeah.
Did the people like hey, Rion, welcome back. Were there other athletes?
I got that a lot.
A lot.
A lot
awesome.
from, not just from Singapore staff, not just from Singapore athletes, but from different countries as well. It's like, long time no see, long time. I had that like
great.
20 times in my first 2-3 days there. So it was quite funny.
Wow, that's awesome. So it was basically like a condo complex, is it?
Yes.
With shared facilities and dining area all dined together.
Yeah. So we ate in the car park because that was the only part that was big enough to host everybody. So we just put air conditioning units in the car park. And then I remember we went to dining hall and I was like, the place like feels funny, like there's not a dining hall. And I was like, is it a car park? Then I walked, I saw a ramp going up. I said, yeah, it's a car park.
Oh, they reworked it.
Yeah, they reworked it. So that was quite ingenious. I would have never have thought.
And the food was good,
Pretty good. I ate Cambodian pho. Like soup, noodle soup, rice noodles, like 3 times a day. Like because it was like with it was like noodle soup with chicken and prawns, like free flow, and then the prawns are all peeled on. So that was like damn shock, like.
But do they have unhealthy food there, like pizza and fried chicken?
No.
Fried. It was generally quite healthy from what I remember. It was like bread, fruit.
So how
rice.
control is the food? Okay, so first of all, can a team decide to leave out of the village?
I think any request like that has to be made to the Olympic Council, but generally the Olympic Council is quite one size fits all. No special case scenarios, nothing. I know that I think one example I remember is 2018. Joseph Schooling has a bit of a back problem, scoliosis, so he wanted to fly business class to Jakarta, and from what I remember, he wasn't allowed to do it until he last minute. I think he managed to appeal to the right person, or his mother managed to speak to the right person, and then allowed him to upgrade at the airport to business class. Because they are very administrators tend to be, they want everything to be fair and simple. No special case scenarios and anything.
So is it too naive thinking to think that everyone there is sent to perform at the peak of their physical powers? Means you want their body to be in peak physical state. That means that everything should be optimized. That's too naive, is it?
Nothing's optimized, lah.
It's almost like
nothing's optimized.
You're never 100% when you go for these events, lah, right? Is it?
I think it's safe to say that because at home, let's say I juggle my own performance, right? I'll book a hotel that I like. Travel the way I like.
The food,
assuming
choices,
food choices and everything. But when you go as a large contingent, 100+ people to these things, a few hundred people to these things. No lah, it's a bit like army where it's one size fits all. Same attire for everyone. Same kind of living conditions for everyone. Okay, so I get to the part where the 7 of us took our bags. We went up to our apartment. So I was the one with the key. I opened the thing. The first thing we see is 3 beds in the living room, and then we're like, people are sleeping in the living room.
Then you're like, oh fuck.
Then I was laughing. I was like, oh man, this is interesting. Then I took my key, walked in. I opened the door to the first bedroom, and then it was like 2 beds, like a small bedroom. Chen Xiang very smart. He straight away went in. He put his bag down. Then I was like, okay, I'm rusty. I haven't even thought about this thing, but that's how you book your spot, because 7 people of us. We're all there, we don't know who has which room.
Also, they assign you room 1, room 2, room 3, but it's up to you to decide.
Yeah.
Oh,
wow. This is like reality TV show like that.
So he's a doctor, he's smart. He went in and he casually put his stuff down. Then I'm like, okay, very good. Then I opened the door I opened the second door, and it was the master bedroom. 3 beds there.
So then
Chinwei very smart. Chinwei went in, he put his bag down, and then so his room was the 3 people bedroom, so it was like 3 of them inside, 2 of us small bedroom, and 2 more in the living room.
But you mean they don't go by, you are the most senior, you get to choose first. Go, please.
That's why he got the key.
Oh, okay.
That's why he got the key. He the smartest of all. He
That's the advantage. Yeah.
Other people go into room first. You're like, fuck y'all, I'm taking the key.
I mean, you're right, lah. This is. After what you realize, this is life, life is all. There's a certain element of hierarchy. So if you're a more senior athlete on the team, generally you get afforded a bit more respect or leeway.
Okay.
So I would say that whatever you say holds more weight as well, as opposed to 17 years old, you go there.
So who was the youngest athlete on the Singapore team?
I don't know, man.
On the athletics team.
On the athletics team. I want to say it's probably Ruben Rainer Lee. So he's our 200-meter record holder. So last year in Vietnam, he he broke a long-standing 200-meter record. He ran like 20.92 seconds for 200 meters. Placed 5th as a 19-20-year-old. 19-year-old, I think. This year is 20. Unfortunately, you wouldn't have heard of him this year because he got injured. He never managed to start his races this year. Yeah.
I see.
So, yeah.
So for you, you said, just going back to that you were quite well rested and quite well fed and quite well taken care of.
Quite well taken care of, but the sleeping conditions are always like quite a coin toss. For me, I didn't sleep well leading into both my races. Like back home in Singapore, I can knock out and sleep like 8-9 hours.
Yeah.
At worst 7 hours a day. Over there, because you unfamiliar environment.
Yeah.
Do
you bring your own pillow and all?
I brought my own bolster, which really helped. Yeah. Because it made you feel like you're at home. Some people bring their own pillows. But it's bulky so you have to dedicate like one bag just for that.
Yeah.
So I brought my own bolster. My girlfriend was laughing at me. She was like, "How old are you?" But you want everything to be as closely replicatable to home as possible. So I brought my own bolster, and I think it really helped me. But the first night I slept like 6 hours, then you wake up because A, you're training less, you're getting ready to race, so a bit of extra energy. B, excitement. C, like Chen Sang and I, we get along very well, but at the same time, we're not used to like sleeping right next to each other, close contact. So like you're a bit more conscious, you don't disturb the other person, and then even loud breathing or snoring, which became an issue for one of the other rooms. Like one guy snored so much he got kicked out from the room because his roommates couldn't sleep.
Oh shit! Yeah. Kicked out to where?
The living room.
The living room. I see. Wow.
So like I won't drop any names but like one I think it was the day of my 5K. I only slept 4.5 hours because like a bit of tossing and turning. Eventually I decided to go for a slow morning run just to wake up the body. I walked out, I saw one of the guys like in the living room. Why suddenly got all three beds are taken up. One guy had moved out from the master bedroom, and then he was like tossing and turning. He looked at me with like kind of a black face, like not happy. Then I was like, why cannot sleep? Then I went down to run, came back up, and I heard him saying, he was talking to one of the other guys, very unhappy. Then he went out for breakfast. I went out to see him at breakfast, and he said, and he wasn't talking, he was like very angry face. And I said, why cannot sleep? I said, this guy keeps snoring. I slept 0 hours. Then after I went out, I went to lie down in the living room. That guy snores also.
So should I put the snorers together?
That's what he did eventually.
That's what he did eventually.
Yeah, that's what he did. But it was a bit of a sensitive situation and caused a bit of unhappiness because he didn't want to offend the guy who snores. So he went to talk to other people, try and figure out a solution without telling the guy that he snores. But then because so many people ended up hearing about it, everyone knew that the guy snores before he told the guy that he snores. So the guy was like, what the fuck? Why he tell everyone except me? So
it's crazy how all these domestic issues can literally make a difference between an athlete performing at 100% and like 90 or 80%.
Because it's emotionally tiring, right?
Yeah. Imagine you can't sleep before your race.
Yeah.
Sucks, man.
Shit.
I always thought that in the athletes' village there'll be like hyperbaric chamber for each of you. Then you they pull you.
They're like,
out.
Rion, you need a bolster.
Yeah.
We have given you 2 bolsters for your room. Please enter.
7 hours or 28 minutes of sleep for you. All right. The computer says just nice.
Wow. No such thing. So then the 3 of them in one room, right? One snoring, the other one cannot sleep. So he went over to A, B, and C. C snore, A cannot sleep. A went to B. Stood over his bed at 3 a.m. just to see whether he was able to sleep. So then B said he was like tossing in and out of sleep. He opened it up, he saw A standing over him like that. He was like, what the fuck? Then he was like, what? Then A was like, I just wanted to see whether or not I was the only one that could hear this, because apparently C was snoring so loud. A couldn't believe that B was sleeping so well. So he went to stand over like that, and then B woke up and then saw A like looking at him like that.
Wow.
Crazy.
Wow. That's amazing.
So whenever you hear stories of people who I guess Olympics always have an Olympic village, those or any of those games where there's so many uncertainties and yet they win gold medals in consecutive games.
Yeah.
Even for yourself, your first 2 SEA Games you won gold and gold, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot that almost is out of control of your hands, right?
Yes, definitely yes. I must say my first 2 SEA Games are both in hotels, so the uncertainties were minimized. Yeah, but this one teruk this one if your condition no good, yeah, it can make a difference. But I mean, Olympics, the best athletes, I think Usain Bolt has always stayed in the games village, so credit to him. But some of the top American athletes, they will request to like stay
outside.
Yeah. So very often the top like American athletes, they will do their own thing, bring their own physio, have their own setup, and I think America is more accepting to like free will,
and they're willing to invest like the additional cost of like
the individual athlete will pay. The individual athlete will pay because they're professional athletes. They are rich, like
that's true.
They can pay their.
That's
own
why, like you hear stories of Usain Bolt, of course you get all these rumors like he ate chicken nuggets before 100 meters.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it's true or not, but like you have to give people like that credit. They stay in the Olympic Village and they still just kick the shit out of everyone.
I mean, Bolt is a very easygoing guy. I mean, like based on everything I've read about him, he seems to be like, like you say like party, eat chicken nuggets because he doesn't like the Beijing food, and go out there. And he's just supremely talented.
Yeah, because even like you were saying that the food there, I'm guessing as a athlete, you also track your diet and like how you react to certain foods and all, right?
Yeah.
But you can't indicate your preference beforehand unless you are an allergy or something.
No one's gonna cater for you.
No one's gonna give a shit,
man. I mean, like one of our female sprinters, Elizabeth, she did very well in the SEA Games. I think she made the final. Obviously, Shanti was the one who was grabbing the headlines, but Elizabeth made the finals in the 100 and the 200, I believe. Yeah, and she brought her own peanut butter jar, so I thought that was quite cute. And she'll make her own, like just slice the bananas and then like put them on top of toast and put the peanut butter. So that replicated her diet in Singapore, which I thought was very cool. She's also a food science like undergrad at NUS. She got that down.
So that means like as the competition progressed, like every day amongst the 11 of you, there'll be like some people competing. Good luck and all.
Yes. So for example,
shit, that's cool, man.
Yeah, exactly. So like there were 5 days of competition for track. So like for example, Shanti competed on days 1, 3, and 5. I competed on days 2 and 4. Yeah. So like two of us were never competing on the same day. So we could take turns to support each other, for example. Then on my 5K when I was competing, Michelle Sung was doing the high jump. So when I ran past her on the second lap, I remember she was shouting for me while waiting for her turn to jump. Yeah.
That's really like sports day last time. Like it's cool.
Nice atmosphere.
Yeah.
Super cool.
So you ran your 10K first, right?
5K first.
Oh, 5K first.
Yeah, 5K on Tuesday, 10K on Thursday.
And 5K you got
fourth. Yeah.
Okay.
So I was there, I was pushing the pace all the way, and then there's some separation that happened in the last 600 meters, and then it ended up being the top 3 separating themselves from 4th and 5th. So I won I was competing with one guy from Myanmar, so I won the race for 4th, but the top 3 were too far ahead, so I wasn't able to catch the guy for 3rd.
But how did that feel?
I still felt happy because I ran a very good time in the 5K. I've only betted that time once, and that was when a time trial condition in Singapore. This one was teruk, you're fighting, some laps fast, some laps slow, extreme heat, and then I did a lot of the leading, and I still came away with good time. So it was only like 3-4 seconds off my best time. So, and even if I equaled my best time, I still wouldn't have won a bronze medal. The bronze medal was like 1 second faster than my best time. So it was like, it would have needed a special effort to get a medal that day. But that being said, I wasn't too far away. So I know that with more preparation, that would have been a different result. But you
mentioned that you were leading all the way. Is it a conscious strategy to lead?
Okay, so
or to follow, or
I can talk about this now because the race is over. But I was keeping my cards quite close to my chest before the race, because I got there and then you go. Okay, so and this is the part in my opinion, this is the most interesting part of the whole SEA Games. When you go there on the first day, then you may not train, but the second day you go to the practice track. There's usually one day where everyone gets to experience the stadium. Put on your spikes, you feel the track. The stadium is open the whole day. So you have Vietnam there, you have Thailand there, Malaysia, Cambodia, Myanmar, Singapore. Everyone, your athletes will go there at different times. And if you're lucky or unlucky, you see your opponents because everyone knows roughly who your main opponents are. So you will see your main opponents like practicing. And then they'll be doing their thing, you're doing your thing, but you kind of know that everyone's kind of watching each other. Some people will say, I just do my own thing, doesn't bother you know what I'm doing. But you know everyone's kind of watching, and like you can feel it like when I do my laps, I can feel people are watching. the Malaysians, I mean Cambodians, whatever.
It's like being at the club.
I was just thinking that a club.
Everyone check each other out.
You want to be cool, but you're
this
like,
guy
hey.
going for that girl. I need to talk to her first.
Exactly.
You know what two of us were thinking? I was like, oh, sounds familiar.
Athlete, non-athletes.
And then the more cheeky guys will come and ask their teammates, hey, so which girl? That one, you know. Usually the Vietnamese girls get more attention because they're the tend to be the more attractive ones to the Singaporean guys. So that's the funny talk that goes on. But I mean, you know, from the competition point of view, what happened was that I was doing my own stuff. You know, I think it can be quite overwhelming if it's your first SEA Games because you go there and everyone feels so intimidating, so fast, and it's easy to feel so small when you're going for practice, and then you feel like your training is, then you feel the need to run faster just to prove yourself prove to other people or prove to yourself that you belong there. But I mean, the last thing that you should be doing right before your competition is go and push hard in training. You just want to do maintenance work.
Yeah.
But I mean, that being said, you know, even like now, I'm a lot calmer. I just do my thing. People want to watch, let them watch. But then when I see some of the others, they're doing like fast laps or whatever, I can take my stopwatch out and see how fast they're going or so lah. So I did that. I can't remember who I did it for. Malaysians or Vietnamese, I think. But like some of them were doing like fast 200-meter splits. So I just took out my watch and saw, they're running like pretty decently fast.
But what advantage does that confer, like knowing how fast they're running?
Curiosity.
Oh, okay,
I mean, if it intimidates you, then don't go and like see what they're doing. But for me, I mean, I did very light stuff. I didn't do anything hard at all the last few days. So like if anyone was timing me, it was probably quite underwhelming. So, but then the talk, I mean, then you meet your friends, you know, some of them speak English. So the talk was generally like, it's very hot. It's very hot. People were a bit scared of the heat. Then I even bumped into the Malaysian coach, who's a French guy. I can't remember his name. Pierre something. John Claude Pierre, maybe. I can't remember his name, but he's a French guy who used to be quite a good athlete back in the day. He's now the Malaysian distance coach.
Okay.
So I think he recognized me. So he said, hey, where were you at Singapore Open? My boys were competing. I said, I was having exams, so I wasn't able to do it. Yeah, he said, we're having a good race. Then he was like, I think I felt that, I mean, I may have been wrong, but I felt that he was trying to figure out what kind of shape I'm in. So he said, what do you think you can run now? I gave him a very honest answer. I said, I think I can run a national record. I think I'm in good shape. But it will depend on how fast the race goes out. And then that's where he said, I don't think it's going to be a fast race. I think people are going to be quite scared of the heat, so people are going to hold back. So in my head, I registered, okay, the Malaysians are not ready for a fast race. If I go out fast, they're going to be out the back. Because they are in a distance race like 5,000, there are two ways a race can go out. It can be go out fast, and then everyone like it's a more honest race from the start. Everyone's just going at their maximum pace. Or it could be a conservative race where people jog for half the race before the race gradually speeds up, and then the last lap is very, very fast. So the last lap will be extremely fast, but the overall finishing time won't be very fast. So like in example A, the race can be won in 14 minutes, and in example B, the race could be won in 16 minutes.
And how's that kind of decided?
It's decided based on who's in front. Because it's game theory, right? Like the person in front tends to expend more energy. And both of you are smart guys. You will appreciate this. But let's say it's three of us, right? No one, and we're all competitors. No, we're not going to tell you what our race plan is. But then the race goes off. If it's 16 of us, someone's going to end up in front. And sometimes you get very unwilling leaders because like they go off and then they realize they're in front. Shit, I don't lead. Then they slow down to a jog. But nobody wants to overtake them because nobody wants to lead. Nobody wants to be the one in front, like with all the pressure, everyone following you. You can't see anyone. And then the wind is blowing in your face. Not everyone can.
So sometimes it's easier to actually have someone to just keep follow behind.
The best is someone in front of you running a pace that you want to run. Then you just switch off your brain and follow him. Psychologically, you waste less energy. Physiologically, he's breaking the wind for you. If you look at Tour de France cycling, that they are going even faster. So the guy in front really takes the brunt of the wind. You're going behind, you're expending less energy but going the same pace. And then when it's time to fight, you can
put your foot on the pedal.
Put your foot on the pedal, and you have more. Basically, like cars, like the car in front is expending more fuel to go at the same pace as the car right behind. That's Like,
so that means this race started and you were like, I'm gonna.
The race started, and for the 5,000, in my head I was like, okay, you don't have to go and lead from the start, but it's probably in my head I was like, a lot of people are not ready for. I think a lot of people are not ready for the race to be fast. They all think that it's gonna be slow because of the heat. If you make it fast, you're gonna take a lot of them out of their comfort zone. Because I bet if you the 5,000, a lot of people were just hoping for a slow race, and then they sprint the last. They just wanted to be there in the last lap and then see how fast they can go. For me, I knew that my strength didn't really lie in that because I didn't really have chance to work on my last lap finishing power, but I had a lot of fitness and I felt that I could take the heat. Like psychologically, I'm quite tough. You know, and then physiologically, I was doing all this like ice bath and everything to regulate my heat temperature before the race even started.
Oh, wow.
So I know that, and I'm a marathon runner, so I can take a lot of punishment. Like, I may not have that kind of like lethal speed, but I can take a lot of punishment. So I was like, okay, if the race is not fast after 2-3 laps, you just go for it, and like, you know, you make them chase you lah. At the end of the day, even if you lose, you know that, you know, you gave it a good go, you were brave, and rather than living regret, like you go and play someone else's game, and then you lose on their terms. Like you play your game, you lose on your terms. That's fine. That was my opinion. So
sorry, just because non-athlete asking, right?
No worries.
That means basically there's sort of like a pain threshold that you know that you can tahan up to, and whether how close you want to get to that threshold during the race, that forms your strategy. That's part of your strategy.
Exactly. So for example, I think Harash is a hockey player, for example. So I think Harash now maybe, but back in the day, you can definitely sprint, let's say 50 meters faster than me. So let's say we race 5,000 meters, right? If you and me, we walk for 4,950 meters and then we sprint the last 50, you can probably beat me. And then you would have beaten me in a 5,000 meter race, even though the finishing time is very slow. So I wouldn't want that. I want to make it uncomfortable for Harash right from the start.
So that he's almost like broken down by the time.
Correct. So even if he's fit enough to go with me to the last 100 meters, he won't be able to use that kind of finishing speed. So to put that context.
You mentioned you didn't have enough time to like just worry about your competitors. If you had enough time, would you be studying them, like what their last race was, your quote?
Probably. But I mean, you also don't want to focus so much energy on other people.
Correct,
but I mean, you know, ideally you have someone doing that for yourself. Like, I mean, when Manchester United plays Chelsea, I'm sure their managers study each other multiple times before they go out onto the pitch.
So the race started, you're off, and then like at what point did it change?
I would say after the first lap, as a Cambodian boy in front, I think he was like kind of buoyed by his home crowd support. He was in front, but after 300 meters, I saw that he suddenly was looking around, so maybe he wasn't very comfortable in the lead. So after the first lap, you know, I pulled up alongside him. I was like, okay, we just go for it. Like, you know, you're fit, you just go for it. Make people chase you, and if they can catch you at the end, like, they deserve it. So then, from the second lap, I made it a very, very punishing race. I was running it fast. I was making it such that, you know, if anyone wanted to stay in contact with the lead, they will have to like, after they will know that they're in trouble after 2 or 3 laps. They know that it's going to be a fast race. It's going to be not just fast, but it's in the heat as well. So it's very, very punishing. And if you look at the race video, you can see a lot of people start to drop off before even half the race was over, because, you know, probably I feel people were not psychologically ready for that. They didn't expect to be in the hurt locker so early. You want to call it that?
Were you the only marathon runner?
I was the only in the 5,000 meter field. I was the only one who has run a marathon before.
Okay, I see.
For sure.
So then like is there like trash talking amongst the athletes when you're in that pack?
Trash talking don't have but I know there's an Indonesian guy a small guy. So his name is Robbie. So Robbie also wanted it to be a fast race because I think he's quite small, right? So he's got a lot of endurance, but his last lap finishing power is not that good also. So after 3 laps, Robbie came alongside me and he was like, fast pace. He also wanted it to be fast because he knew that his chances in the last lap sprint with like 10 other people is not good. So he wanted to burn off people. So I told him, I mean, you want a fast pace, go ahead, help me out. So then he took the lead and then he pushed. And then the Cambodian guy took the lead after 7 laps and pushed. And I took the lead with 5 laps to go and I pushed. So there was always somebody like making the pace fast. So when it came to the end, there was only 5 of us. So, and then 3 of them got separated away. So I think on any other day, if I had managed to burn off one more person, I could have gotten a medal in the 5. So that's why I knew that even though I just missed on the medal, I wasn't disappointed because it's like 5,000 meters is not my pet event anyway. If I got a medal, it would have been extremely good. But you know, like, before the race started, I was probably like seeded 8th 9s or something like that. And because I went to take myself out of the comfort zone and push, I managed to burn off a lot of people that would otherwise have beaten me. I was very satisfied with my race strategy and performance.
So when the separation happens, it's just your body can't. I mean, it's like
it's both your body and your mind, lah. It's always easier to push yourself more when you see like the medals right in front of you. It's like one more lap. Like someone else might die. One more lap, and then closer to the end, like your mind stops you from performing when you're in too much pain, because this keeps you alive. Your brain keeps you alive. So the brain says, hey, like hang on, like don't go there.
Yeah.
But if you can overcome that instinct and keep pushing, you can push yourself to. That's how you push yourself to new limits, and then you change what you believe is possible.
And when you're at that pain threshold, like what are you hearing? Is that a song playing in your head, or are you like blanking out, or what is it?
Edwin Tong.
Edwin Tong. What do you mean?
Wasn't it Edwin Tong was the
what?
SN.
What are you talking about?
Edwin
Tong's the minister for MCCY.
Yeah. Yeah lah.
Yeah,
so like encouraging lah.
Oh, seeing an image of him in his head. Then you what? Edwin Tong.
No, that's why, Terence, you look at me, I was like, did I say something wrong?
What's in his head? Then you're talking about
Edwin Tong is in his head lah.
Edwin Tong is in his
head. Fuck lah, Terence. I was like, did I say something wrong? No. Edwin Tong lah, come on.
What's in your head?
Edwin Tong was actually on the side cheering very loudly. Cheered until he lost his voice. So,
is it?
I mean, he wasn't what was in my head. What was in my head was like trying to like really. I did go through a bit of like sports psychology training with my friend Bei Hansen, he's a good sports psychologist. So we did work on certain like key strategies to keep yourself mentally engaged. Because I told him these are my weaknesses, these are what I want to improve on, and we did work on some like psychological skills to make sure you don't mentally check out during the race.
Any kind of like just a teaser of like what
it
kind
can
of techniques.
For example, for myself, when the going gets hard, and like especially at the end of a race, like last 2 laps, if you check out for 5 seconds, right, you lose the contact with the guy in front of you. It's very hard to catch back, like because the last 2 laps everyone is going hard already. So if you lose 2 seconds on the guy in front of you, you have to run 2 seconds faster than him on the final lap to catch up to him. And that's exactly what happened to me. Like I ended up maybe 5 seconds behind the bronze medalist at the start of the last lap. And I ran a bit faster than him, but I would have to run 5 seconds faster than him to catch him. So I wasn't able to catch him.
And when you say, that means you just lock on that person. You cannot let the distance grow.
Yeah. I mean, that, like, letting the distance grow will demoralize yourself as well. So, like, just keep engaged, I mean, it's like kind of doing schoolwork, right? If you're always on top of it, then you don't feel so stressed. But, like, if you don't study for half a year and then suddenly A-levels come and you have to study all that shit, and then
correct.
It's hard to make up the difference. So, I mean, that's a good way of looking at it. But, 5,000 meters, I felt, if anything, the 5,000 meters gave me a lot of, like, reassurance that I was in good shape. And I knew that 10,000 was closer to my pet event. So I know that if I'm 4th in 5,000, like, I wasn't too far away from medal. Like, 10,000, I can probably get a medal if I run well. But the keywords were if I run well, because a lot of people don't run well in 10,000, especially in the heat. Like it's 25 very punishing laps. So I went into it knowing that I needed to be mentally engaged. I needed to run smart, and thankfully I did all those things. And it was very satisfying to get a silver, and like almost getting the gold as well, or like not too far away from gold medal was definitely a surprise.
How long was the gap between the 5,000 and 10,000?
48 hours.
Yeah.
And after the 5,000. I was notified that I had to do a doping control test.
Oh.
Then I was like, why the hell did they choose me, man? Like, I was 4th, and they were like, it was randomized. I was like, come on, it's randomized? And then they tested the first guy and the second guy. They didn't test the third guy, and they tested me. So I was like, what the hell, man? Like at least test the third guy as well, lah. Like.
Were you the most experienced runner in terms of number of SEA Games or like years you've been competing?
In terms of number of SEA Games, no, because I missed 2.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. But number of years?
Well, the first guy from Thailand is his mid-20s in the 5K. The second guy from Philippines is 2 years younger than me. The third guy is also younger than me. So I was the oldest one in the top 4. The 5th guy was also young, so I was the oldest guy in the top 5. I was probably the oldest guy in the 5K.
Okay.
Overall, yeah. And in the 10K, only Agus Prayogo from Indonesia was older than me.
The guy who won?
No, he got 4th. So Agus won the marathon and then came and got 4th in the 10,000. Ricky Martin Luther Simbalon is the guy who won the 10,000, and he's in his 26 or 25, I can't remember.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So in that 48 hours between 5,000 and 10,000, you were like in recovery mode, just
ice bath.
ice bath.
Ice bath, go for a massage. Belinda Liu, who was our team physiotherapist, did a great job, like helping us to, she had a busy schedule, because all of us were going to her with all kinds of problems, right?
Yeah.
Fix this, fix that.
Yeah.
I tried to sleep, didn't get much sleep because, you get caffeinated before your race, and then after your race, you suddenly need to wind down and go to bed. Not so easy. So, and then the next day, I woke up, went for breakfast, came back, relaxed, and then my teammate, I went for massage, and then my teammate Chen Xiang went to the stadium. So Chen Xiang competed on Wednesday. I competed Tuesday, Thursday, and Chen Xiang was supporting me for both my events. I would have loved to support him at his event, but because I had an event the day after, I just crashed in the apartment. I just knocked out for 3 hours, afternoon nap. Then I woke up. He had finished the race already. Then I watched it without knowing the result, and I saw that he initially got the silver medal, but it was a dead dead heat lah. So they appealed and he got the gold medal eventually.
I remember that. Wow.
I see.
That was quite an interesting process as well because so the camera is always on the right. So when they cross the line together, you can't really tell, but on the photo finish, it looks like the Thailand guy got him just slightly, and eventually the Thailand guy got the gold medal by 2/1000ths of a second, so 0.002 seconds. I thought, okay, last way, Chen Xiang ran well, broke the national record, but it looks like he got silver. And then later I heard that they were appealing, and then 3 hours after that, Chen Xiang got joint gold medal together with the Thai guy. And then this kind of thing rarely happens. So I was a bit curious as to how the process went about. I was like, how come how was it that they even reversed this decision?
Yeah.
So what was eventually revealed was the guy who originally reviewed the first photo finish was a official from Thailand.
Oh my goodness.
So I think they appealed based on grounds that it should be a neutral third party, and I think there was a Korean official who rejected the appeal initially, but then they appealed one more time to a jury of 3 officials or something, like court of appeal, court of 3 judges kind of thing. And then that was when they looked at not just the right camera but the left camera as well, which is the one you don't see on TV. And from the camera on the left, it looks like Chen Xiang won. From the camera on the right, it looks like the Thai guy won. So it's really like whoever is closer to the camera looks to be the one that won.
They don't have the technology like VAR in football where you got one wall.
Yeah, then you can see the 3D image,
I mean, the technology in football is a lot better, but what was inconclusive was that the left and right camera should synchronize. It didn't synchronize. So there's probably, I don't know, must be some technical fault or some camera placement, something like that. So Singapore's appeal was on the grounds that if it's inconclusive, it should be a joint gold medal. And that's where...
And he got a joint gold medal.
We talked about this on a podcast where I think the esports team, the Singapore esports team also, there was some controversy about how...
The Indonesians, right? And that was on the same day as the 10,000 final, actually.
Because, I think the shocking thing from that was how, the appeals process was such a... how many people you have appealing on your behalf versus, how many
becomes
people
a game of
have.
Politics.
Exactly. Yeah, this is a crazy thing.
I'm not a fan of these sports, right? It should be quite conclusive.
Yeah.
But, even on that, there was a senior member of our team that pointed out that, if we want to appeal, we cannot appeal for Chen Xiang to get gold and the Thai guy to get silver. We have to appeal for a joint gold because, Thailand is quite influential in Southeast Asian track and field. They hold a lot of clout and power and influence. So... if we appeal for us to get gold and them to get silver, we're never gonna win. So the best we can do is appeal for joint gold.
And he got the joint gold.
I didn't even know about all this political play.
But how does it feel for an athlete like Chen Xiang, right? How does it feel for him to get a joint gold, knowing that it's slightly contentious and all?
I was on a podcast with him. I was on a radio with him, and his answer, which I thought was a very mature and very wholesome answer, was that to him is even sweeter because the guy that he got the joint gold with, he trained with him before in Thailand. So he's they're friends as well lah.
Got it.
I guess it would be different if you really hate that guy, right? But they're friends and everything for them to train together, and they push each other in the gym, push each other on the track. And now they win together. I think.
So then on the day itself, do they? Because they present the gold medal on the thing. They have a spare one.
So that was my question as well. I was like, how did they do it? But because of all the protesting, the medal ceremony got postponed to the next day.
Oh, so they had some time.
Okay. So there's some time to figure it out. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought maybe they hug and then they put together with their heads together one medal.
Like conjoined twins, is it?
Conjoined twins.
So that'll be funny, lah.
So then okay,
the
then
national anthem's done like that.
Yeah, that's right.
They both at the same time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So then okay, he got a gold. Then going into the 10,000, like did the 5,000 affect your mindset going into the 10,000 or?
So I must confess that after the 5,000, when I went for a jog, like I felt okay, but I definitely know that the 5,000 had sapped some energy out of my legs. But you know, to me it's like, you know, the schedule is as such. I knew what I was getting myself into before going in. Agus finished the marathon 5 days before. He was coming into the 10,000. He had a few more days of rest, but marathon is also a lot longer, so that's more punishing as well.
And he won the marathon.
He won the marathon, yeah. And then like the guy who lost to me in the 5,000 got 5th. He was also in the 10,000. So it's like so many of us had done multiple events. The guy who won eventually, he only did 10,000. So that could be a factor as well, because I felt that the last 3 laps, when it should be time to race, like really like start my finishing push in the 10,000, I was struggling to stay on my feet because like my legs were really jellified already. And now it could be just the heat in the 10,000, it could be the fast pace in the 10,000, but I also felt that the 5,000 took something out of my legs. When it was time to sprint, I didn't quite have that same pop in my legs boost, that I would like to have.
Yeah.
But you know, that's what you choose to do. So if I could redo my entire week, I wouldn't have run the 5,000. I would just focus on 10,000. If I knew I was going to be that close to winning a gold medal. But you know, it is what it is. It was still a beautiful race. Like Ricky was very brave. He went to, like, whatever I did in the 5,000, Ricky went to do it in the 10,000. And then
to lead the thing.
Like I think his strategy was, I spoke to his coach. So Coach Agung is a good friend of mine. So Ricky is his new protege. So I asked Agung, okay, now that the race is over, what was your strategy, coach? And he was like, I told him to first 10 laps, don't do anything. And then the last 15 laps, the last 6K, you run every kilometer at 3 minutes per K. And 3 minutes per K is a pace that is extremely fast for our standard in 10K. But Ricky was in shape to do that.
Wow.
And so basically, like, make it suddenly put in an injection of speed that makes the race like very painful. Then if people go with you, they're gonna suffer as well.
So the first 10 laps don't do anything means let someone else lead.
Let other people do their thing.
Follow.
And that's what happened.
The Myanmar boys had a plan. So the Myanmar boys, I think they had athlete A and athlete B. B set the pace for A for a few laps, and then B is not so fit, so B dropped back, and then A continued. And then before you know it, 10 laps is over, then Ricky came over and took over. So there was always someone pushing the pace.
I see.
Yeah. So eventually Ricky managed to burn off everyone. So I was like in 5th or 6th at one point. I hung back. I don't know if you guys watched the race, but I was out of camera frame at like the halfway point. And then I clawed my way back. I went to 4th, went to 3rd, and I went to 2nd. And then I eventually caught up to Ricky, and I was like just following him all the way until the end. And then the last lap, just before the last lap, I came alongside him, and then he pushed. Then after that, I couldn't overtake him anymore. I just followed him all the way around the last lap.
And when did that incident that went viral, which lap was that?
Viral moment.
5.5 laps to go.
Then I was like, wow. Then we were basically like, wow, Rui Yong's redemption arc. Wow, fucking.
But here's where you can officially, you can like tell all the naysayers to fuck off. Like, was it an orchestrated thing for you to redeem yourself?
You can't really orchestrate these things, lah.
As you saw him drop the water, did it occur in your mind, this is going to win people back?
This is my moment.
This is my moment, yeah.
Well, I guess when it happens, you know, now people ask me what was going through your mind at the point of time. You know, like, nothing much, you know, because at that point of time, you're just struggling to finish the race. It's all instinct, like it's all racing instinct.
Yeah.
So I remember, like, you know, he put to the side to get water. I said, maybe I should do the same. Then I went over, then I heard a pump because he didn't time his grab properly. He was probably like a bit like disoriented also, or like hand-eye coordination just no good at that point of time. Like, when you're dehydrated.
That was how many laps in?
It was like 20. It was our 20th lap.
So 5 laps to go. 5 laps to go.
So I heard the pump, and then I grabbed my bottle. I had to avoid the water bottle as well because like the bottle had like fallen onto the ground, right? So you step on it, you can twist your ankle.
Yeah.
So then I siamed the bottle, grabbed the cup, and then I poured some over my head, and instinctively I just accelerated a bit, and then I gave the remainder to him.
So
and,
you had to, you didn't pour as much as you would have liked onto yourself.
Yeah,
you give it to him. Yeah, must ration. And then you can increase some more.
Yeah.
Increase.
Like I said, it was instinctive. Instinctive. And I think that, end of the day, we obviously are fighting for the same medals, but friends first, safety first. I mean,
and you knew him before?
I only met him like the night or the 2 nights before. Agus introduced us. Yeah.
Oh.
And Ricky doesn't speak much English, so people are asking, hey, did he thank you? Did he thank you or not? I mean, first of all, I don't expect a thank you for these things. But secondly, he did. And not after the race. And after the race, you saw he was lying on the ground, kind of convulsing. And then I came over and I shook his hand. And people were asking what he was saying. He wasn't talking to me. He was praying to Allah. He was saying his thanks. And then I shook his hand and I walked away. The next time I saw him, he was on the ground like that.
Just passed out.
He was... He had really taken himself to the max, which is why I said that he really deserves that gold medal. To push the race all the way and then still find something to sprint that last lap. He really took himself to the max, and he really deserves the gold medal for being able to push to that extent. I didn't push to that extent. I was walking around after the race, looking for my parents, looking for Edwin Tong as well, because he was shouting for 25 laps, right? Yeah. And then my teammates and everything. So that was great. And eventually I think the result was a fair one. The guy who put in his A+ effort took the gold, and I think I ran well to get the silver, and the Myanmar boy who did a lot of the early work got the bronze.
But just going back to that moment, that viral moment of the bottle, when do you find out that became a thing, it went viral and all that?
So I deleted my social media before the games from my phone. So
really?
Because I just wanted to focus completely on racing. And normal days we do spend a lot of time scrolling through social media, but the hype from the media, the hype from social media gets very pronounced during the games. So I didn't want to deal with all that.
Okay.
Not that I in my first 2 SEA Games I didn't delete, and I was fine. I won gold medals both my first 2 times, but I think that this time the attention on my participation was definitely more. I felt that there was a lot more going on. I actually sent a message to Joseph Schooling before the SEA Games. I was thinking of deleting social media for the games. What do you think? He was get rid of it, but bring a book to keep yourself engaged.
Okay.
I brought a book. I didn't read it. I ended up playing board games or whatever with my friends in my free time, which was a lot more fun.
So when was the first time you checked it?
Or when you find out that this thing was
I had social media on my iPad. So in my room when I had time, I'll scroll a bit but
But at what point did you have an idea after the race when you can come down I think let me open up Facebook and LinkedIn, man.
Ooh, likes.
Yeah, give me the likes. Did you have an idea?
I didn't even think about that after because after you do your anti-doping, you do your media interviews and you do anti-doping, and then I got my phone, and then the first thing you check is WhatsApp. So on WhatsApp, people were congratulating me for the performance because it was Singapore's first medal in 40 years. I mean, there were multiple things happening in that race. My result was the first medal in 40 years in the 10,000 meters. But it's also a new national record. And on top of that, that incident happened. So I was getting messages on all 3 things.
Wow.
And then someone sent me a link from YouTube where MediaCorp had cropped out that part
exactly,
and it was getting more plays than the race highlights itself, which was hilarious. And then obviously because of whatever happened in the past, with Ashley Liu's act of sportsmanship and me disputing that whether that actually happened or not because there was no visual proof, people started laughing because of that the irony, right? So that was extremely funny. And then they were you see now this one got proof, so that was the funny part
It's you had to run 10,000 meters and punish yourself just to have that one moment where you had the water bottle.
And then when the media corp did that, so all power to them. I mean, obviously they're doing it for the clicks as well, then that was something that took off. And then I was okay, I think this might actually my friends in the UK were talking about it, and they were okay, just remember we were your friends before you went viral. I didn't really expect much, but it really went viral in Indonesia. So then I downloaded my Instagram after that race, and I had 20,000 new followers from Indonesia.
Wow.
Which has since doubled. And so now my Instagram is 70% Indonesian followers.
And it's not from winning getting second in the race. Like, it was from that video of that.
It was definitely that lah, because I mean, there are so many silver medalists in every event.
Oh, yeah.
But the irony is that I thought about this. I think that if I had won, I wouldn't have. It wouldn't have made the rounds that much in Indonesia, because why it made the rounds in Indonesia was that their guy won.
Yeah, and
this happened. So they saw it as like helping him achieve a good result. And he won in Indonesia. And Indonesian, their fans are so fervent over sports, right? You saw when he won the SEA Games gold medal. Roads are closed back home. It's like they won the World Cup. So, and they were my inbox was being flooded by messages of support, not just from Singaporeans, but mostly Indonesians. So that's when I saw that, wow, they're really super supportive of sports, and anyone who like is positively associated with Indonesian sports, they really throw their support behind you. So,
are you going to Indonesia soon? You should just walk around with an iPad, just playing a GIF of that on loop. Everywhere you walk, with a medal, just a GIF on loop. Yeah, just a GIF on loop.
Well, I think I'm going to Indonesia soon to promote a running event. Not confirmed yet, but because of what happened, I might be in Jakarta very soon to promote running.
That is awesome,
Stay tuned.
So are you going to make it part of the Pokari 2.4 kilometer run? Like, you must take water and you must give it to the person in front of you.
You must finish one bottle of Pokari Sweat after every lap, is it? Like beer amount.
You have to give it to the person in front of you. You cannot drink your own cup.
You must sportsmanship.
Sportsmanship.
Actually, now that I think about it, that was quite a good relay passing.
Actually, that's right. It could be a relay race where you must hand a cup of water to somebody else and run.
That cannot spill.
Cannot spill. Maybe if he ran fast, that would have helped you, keep up with him all the way, just to pass him the cup. Oh, that's fucking hilarious, man.
Yeah.
So I mean, all in all, I think what was important was that I felt that it, and it was nice because it happened on the same day as our esports argument with Indonesia as well.
The rift last.
Yeah. So there was a journalist who messaged me, "Hey, thank God you did this, man. Like, you stopped World War III from happening." we had this big argument with Indonesia in the esports. I wasn't even following esports then because I was not on social media, right? So then I looked into that. I was like, "Oh, that was quite ugly." So and there were people making comparisons, like one or two comments from Indonesians. Mostly were very positive and not controversial, but one or two, they're like, "You good man, not like Singapore esports, don't know what cheating, da 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 da." But I mean, I don't really know what happened, so I'm not going to comment too much on that.
So no wonder you posted recently in Bahasa Indonesia, right?
So I mean, after that, I was like, wow. I mean, if my followers are now like 70% Indonesian, better start learning to type in Bahasa lah.
Wow. Singapore Tourism Board needs to listen to this
and Indonesian Tourism Board.
And then for Soh Rui Yong to invite Indonesians to come and visit Singapore.
Yeah, that's right.
Wow. I think good bilateral. I mean, sports is a great way to build bilateral relations and diplomacy, and I think that this was a great example of that. Beyond the medals, I think this was one of the big stories of the SEA Games, and
it was,
and it made the rounds in Indonesia, Thailand, where my girlfriend stays. Like, her family watched the race, and this made the rounds in Thailand as well. Like, this little act of sportsmanship. It made the rounds in Vietnam as well.
Wow.
Yeah. So now the athletes, when Taiwan opened, there were athletes from other countries who recognized me. Oh, you're the water cup boy.
Water cup.
You're the guy who gave water.
Oh shit!
Wow. Even in Taiwan, when I was racing in Taiwan, the commentary was in Chinese. So thank God I can understand Chinese. I practice a lot because my girlfriend speaks Chinese now. So if it was a year or two ago, it may have been different. But the commentary in Chinese, they were talking about what happened at the SEA Games. 这位是苏瑞勇，他在东南亚运动会有这件事情发生。So they were talking about how I exhibited sportsmanship in that race, and it was very cool to see one opponent helping another, and they really in Chinese they really like talking about values and these things. So they were saying about how it was an incredible display of an exhibition of what's really important in our world. So I thought that was pretty cool.
So but going back to that moment, why was it important for you to give him the water?
Like I said, nothing went through my head apart from
if you unpack now.
If I unpack the best, and I can even see myself saying something on camera, right, to him. I cannot remember for the life of me, and I watched the clip. I can't make out what I'm saying to him, but I was trying to grab his attention to grab the water. I think hot day. So when you're going through that kind of brutal weather, safety first,
So you were at that pain threshold where like you couldn't even really remember what you were saying and.
Oh yeah, I mean, you saw my lap half a lap later when I passed the finish line. 5 laps to go, my face was like that.
Wow.
Yeah, like kind of shaking side to side.
So
really.
it was primal instinct, lah. Primal instinct.
Yeah, I would say so. But I think different athletes react differently in those scenarios. Like some athletes, the instinct is, he saw your opponent miss the cup, time to go. Like because you can inflict a double blow. Like he's probably annoyed that he missed the water, and then now you accelerate. He's like, oh fuck, I need to deal with this. You can break people doing that.
Yeah.
But I mean, and I wouldn't fault someone for doing that because end of the day, some people prioritize winning over other things, right? And that's fine. That's your personal set of values. Like there's no rule that you have to help your opponent, right? And who knows, maybe with someone that I really didn't like, I may not have done the same thing. I would, yeah. So I mean, it just depends on the context of the situation. But I mean, I'm glad that it was positively well received. People seem to have a good impression of that. But like I said, it's probably not something that I can tell you what exactly happened in that point of time because so many things were happening in that point of time.
We test next time in front of Rion, just pretend to take water and
drop.
Yeah, see whether. See whether.
51st or what.
So we spoke to you before the SEA Games and now it's after the SEA Games. How would you say, like, going into it, what you were expecting, what you were hoping for? How would you say it squares up with what happened?
I would say that like I gave myself an A for whatever my performances were. The only A plus was if I managed to win that 10K, which I thought was a very close race, certainly an A plus. But you also understand at this point of time, sometimes you can run incredibly well. Like I think being the only guy to run a personal best in that 10K was like the best I could really do. And sometimes you just get beaten by someone else. And so like Ricky Martin, that's his name by the way, it was an incredibly funny name, right? Ricky Martin Luther, like damn epic name. His personal best is a lot faster than mine. So he could run like 18 seconds slower than his personal best and still beat me when I ran 2 seconds faster than my personal best. Yeah, so it just depends on who shows up, how, I mean, like sometimes your opponents are just better than you are. That's sports. And but I did beat a lot of people who had faster personal best than me. So there you have it. Yeah, so that's just the way sports works these days. I mean, not these days, but this is just the way sports works, full stop.
Yeah.
I've derived a lot of confidence from the way I perform under very challenging conditions. Like satisfying because I didn't just manage to achieve a lot for my country, but I managed to, win some supporters and make some new friends from other countries, especially Indonesia.
Yeah.
My girlfriend's family in Thailand was very excited.
Oh, you champion already in their eyes already.
Well, my girlfriend's auntie, right? She stopped her car by the side of the road to watch the 5K on her phone.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's incredible, and that's when I realized that the attitude towards sports in some of these other countries, like our neighbors, is actually a lot more fervent than what we have back home. Which I think we did talk about a bit of this in our last podcast, but the sports culture here is.
In fact, that was we cut out that clip and had it on TikTok, and it was one of our top watched clips. Yeah. Just talking about the sporting culture in Singapore and how it's not exactly the most fertile for people like yourself at all.
If you see the comments, you can kind of tell how our culture is like. How many comments were like, no, we don't even like sports, that kind of stuff. Just because you like sports doesn't mean like everyone needs to like sports. That's not what I was saying. But.
So, on the notion of sports culture, I saw a few posts on LinkedIn. I don't know whether they were Singaporean or not, or based in Singapore, but there was that one Cambodian runner that finished last in the race, right? And she was 6 minutes between her and the second to last.
Yeah,
she was running in the rain, and she was held up as like a champion, like sportsmanship, But there were also the comments I saw on LinkedIn on the post were like, okay, she's like wasting resources, and it's ultimately the taxpayers' money that's sending people to these games. Should we be celebrating losers, Then I was like, oh shit, people who post like that.
I need to see this.
But what's your take on
was
on
it by Singaporeans? It sounds exactly like something Singaporeans would say, right?
Yeah, I think it was my wife who showed me some that I saw on Facebook. I can't remember, but it was on her newsfeed, and I was looking at it, like, even if it's not Singaporean, even if it's international, like how when you saw that, because for me, I think it's like it's good lah that she did it. I mean, to finish last is never fun.
Yeah.
To finish last after 6 minutes where everybody knows you already lost.
Yeah.
I think it does say something about, okay lah, you just want to finish what you started.
I think you have to look at the context of it, right? So this is if you go to the Olympics and run like that, then I would say like, yeah, sometimes don't go and hold up the schedule lah. You know that you're not supposed to be there. But look at the context. I mean, this is the SEA Games. Cambodia is hosting it. Cambodia doesn't really have a good developmental pipeline for distance running for a multitude of reasons. I mean, especially as a lady in Cambodia, opportunities to pursue athletics with proper training, with proper facilities, with proper coaching is probably very limited.
Yeah.
So she's probably, I don't know what is the selection process. I don't know why she's there, but she's probably there knowing full well that she's gonna get beaten by all these Vietnamese girls and all these other girls that are way better trained and way fitter than she is. So it takes courage to go out there despite knowing that she's running 23, 24 minutes. The Vietnamese are running like 17, 16 minutes. Even our Singapore girl, Vanessa, ran 18 minutes. So it's like you're way out of your league. So, and if it was a meet overseas, I would say that don't send lah. You're not in that kind of level. Why you gonna send?
Yeah.
But I think they were hosting. They wanted some home representation. They wanted they sent her, and despite and she really had the perfect setting. When the race started, there was no rain, and then it started drizzling, and then the winner finished, and then it started pouring. And then she was in the pouring rain for 5-6 minutes. It was like a K-drama, you can play music, and she's still there running. And then everyone's cheering her on to finish the race.
Yeah.
Of course, the cynics will say everyone's cheering her on to get on with it so that the schedule is not held up. I mean, you have people saying this kind of thing, but I think it was. And then eventually, she received $10,000 from the leader of Cambodia, the president or the prime minister of Cambodia, Hun Sen. Because and he said, this is a symbol of perseverance and the courage that Cambodian people can aspire towards. The cynics would say that it's perseverance under dictatorship. She's inspiring her to persevere under dictatorship. So you see all kinds of these kind of comments. But they made the best out of a situation that could otherwise be spun very poorly. I mean, what's the other extreme that can happen is she gets labeled a disgrace by her own people, and no one wants to see that. That's not what these games are about. So it's good. I mean, take it what you will, but I mean, I'm glad that at least she, an athlete that probably has very little opportunities, managed to benefit from the whole situation. And $10,000 makes a hell of a difference in an average Cambodian's life.
10,000 US, right?
US, yeah.
I see.
So hopefully it actually went into her bank account because I mean I saw that declaration. We've all seen promises that don't get fulfilled. And I hope that she did benefit from that. And in Cambodia, hopefully these games just spark some sort of I think it allowed everyone to see the progress that Cambodia has made.
Yeah.
And hopefully it can inspire even more progress in the future. Yeah.
Cool. So I mean, now that you have come back from that, you've finished the race in Taiwan. Like what are the big things in the next few months that you are looking forward to?
We do have the Asian Games coming up in Hangzhou, China, at the end of September. My priority right now is just make sure I'm healthy again. Make sure I can train injury free towards that games, because if you're injured, you can have the best plans in the world, like one injury. And all, and so even for these SEA Games, I was very fortunate because I was actually dealing with a hip problem for months. I do think that my friend David Tan, the chiropractor, really helped me with this. I was seeing him twice a week leading into SEA Games. I think there was a bit of hip imbalance in my hip and my connected to the structure, my spine and my hips. So he did help with that. Some adjustments twice a week really did help me train consistently towards the SEA Games. And David was very game. He even came to Cambodia on his own dime, said, I'll go and support you. And because he wasn't accredited by the National Olympic Council, he came on his own dime, stayed in his own hotel, brought the massage bed, and then lugged it down to the stadium. So the day before my race, I met him outside the athletes' village. He set up the table. I go on the table and then he adjusts. And And then so that he did it once before the 5K and then once before the 10K, and then he flew back to Singapore and watched the 10K from Singapore. So very thankful to have, like we can complain all we like about lack of sports culture in Singapore, but there are some individuals trying to make it work. So very thankful to David Tan, my chiropractor, for being one of them, and really helping with that. It was very, very encouraging to see because we don't get a lot of support. It's very encouraging to see the support that we do get from certain individuals that really want to see us succeed.
Wow, that's awesome.
So stay healthy. I do have an internship coming up in London, so I'll be in London from June to August working in financial crime prevention. So that's hopefully one step towards my future.
So there'll be hopefully you'll be training for the Asian Games during that time also.
We will know by June 12th whether or not I'm on the team, but I've met I've met the selection criteria.
And it's for what events?
I've met for the marathon and the 10,000 meters. I'll probably just go in the 10,000 meters and possibly the 5,000. I'm not too far off the 5,000, so if they allow me to double, I'll do 10,000, 5,000. 10,000 marathon is probably not a viable double.
Okay. I see. Oh, that is exciting. So that's in September.
Yeah, but September, so 30th September is the 10,000. 4th October is the 5,000. Yeah, but the level at Asian Games is the next level. I know the Japanese, the Koreans are next level. The Chinese even are next level compared to whatever competition we face in Southeast Asia. So it'll be very exciting. But from Southeast Asia, we do root for each other when we go to Asian Games, because it's kind of like our combined kampong, like, going up to the continental level. So I do look forward to seeing the Thai runner Kiran Tuntivate, who won the 5,000 against us. Like, I think he is what it takes to challenge for Asian Games medal. Yeah. Eventually, the last Asian Games he got 4th, but then he eventually got promoted to 3rd because someone got disqualified for drugs. And so drugs is, we were talking about medals and everything, but we have to assess the progress and the performance of our athletes beyond medals, because sometimes things are really out of your control. Like, you can perform at your best, but other countries, they have talented athletes taking drugs. You also cannot fight that naturally. So we do have issues with drugs even at the SEA Games level. Some of these countries, they get popped for drugs, some more than others. Some seem to be state-sponsored doping. I mean, I'm not going to point fingers, but one look, you can tell who are the more state-sponsored doping candidates. And then at the Asian Games level, where the stakes are even higher, more money at stake, that also happens. You have state-sponsored doping. You have countries, usually from the Gulf nations, that buy Africans to run for them, like Bahrain, Qatar. They will sign like Kenyans, give them passports and give them like Muslim names, and then next thing you know, they're no longer like Solomon Kipketer. They are like or Najib running for Bahrain. or like Stephen Chirono was a world record holder for Kenya. He started running for Qatar and his name became Saif Said Shaheen.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this happened in the year 2003.
Oh shit! Wow. Yeah, that's like next level.
And then it was quite interesting because his brother Abraham Chirono stopped talking to him. Said he's a traitor to Kenya. He's a disgrace on this family. And then Abraham Chirono was in the final against his younger brother.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and he wouldn't talk to him.
Then what happened?
Saif Said Shaheen won the gold medal and Kenya took the silver. Ezekiel Kemboy took the silver.
And there were two brothers.
No. Abraham didn't win a medal.
Okay.
So Said Shaheen was formerly known as Stephen Chirono. Stephen Chirono, in the year 2002, I think he set the world record in the 3,000 meter steeplechase. 2003, he went to the World Championships. He took the gold medal, and so the Kenyan people saw him as a disgrace to Kenya, as a traitor, because he didn't just win, but he took a gold medal away from Kenya. And then the 2004 Olympics. In the Olympics, there's a rule that in the last 2, 3, or 4 years, I can't remember what the window was, but if you change countries, you cannot compete in the Olympics for your new country unless your old country releases you from this transfer ban. Guess what Kenya did? They of course didn't allow him to do the Olympics.
So he couldn't do it.
So he couldn't. He started out the Olympics in 2004 in Athens, and Ezekiel Kemboy won. Kenya got 1, 2, and 3.
Wow.
Yeah.
Then 2008.
In 2005, Shaheen won again. Kemboy second, and then 2007, I think Shaheen was injured, so Kenya got 1, 2, and 3. And 2008, Kenya got first and third, or first and second, but by then Shaheen was on the downhill. He was injured already. So Shaheen never won an Olympic gold medal. He's got world champion twice and world record. He still holds the world record today. Yeah, he was quite a legend. But and that was and it was super interesting because I think they paid him like $1 million to swap his nationality, $1 million US. So, you know, as a poor Kenyan guy, like why wouldn't you do it? Even if you're not poor, like, you know, they're not at the level where their $1 million is like nothing to them. So yeah, I mean he did well for himself. To his credit, he eventually he started his own training group, and he funded like a lot of like underprivileged athletes in Kenya to train with him. But these are the harsh realities of sport, you know, like being able to choose things based on values and things that you can only do when you're in a privileged enough position to do these things.
So you know, speaking of like getting people to train and all that, we also know that there's been some developments with the Pokari run, right?
Yes. Okay, thank you for bringing that up. So 9 September 2023, we're having the third edition of the Pokari Sweat run. This year, Singapore Athletics has come on board and proclaimed it as the national championships for 2.4 kilometers. So I'm gonna put out various categories. The most exciting update will be that there's a schools category. So I'm gonna invite, you know, like Raffles, Hwa Chong, Victoria, all the powerhouses in cross country and track and field to compete in a team category. So it will be like team squad. So schools can race each other for the title of, like, you know, the best
2.4 kilometers.
Yeah, the best 2.4 kilometer school team in Singapore. So I think that'll be quite interesting. There's also going to be a team challenge, Team Singapore against like rest of the world. So we're going to invite like anyone who is all these Gurkhas, all the expats from Britain, Australia, whatever, to form a team and race against our Singapore team. You know?
So it's confirmed 9 September is happening.
9 September is happening, man.
So people can register already?
Yeah, it's open on the Pokari website. I haven't been able to post about it because of the SNLC blackout rule. You can't like do campaigns for other brands during the blackout period, but I'm going to start soon.
Sick, man.
So Pokari Sweat is back. The 2.4 kilometer race is back.
The national championships.
Yeah, now it's the first ever 2.4K national championships. Yeah, so it's such a relatable distance, but we never really had like an official national championship for it, and now it's gonna be the first.
It's like a national IPPT. National IPPT test.
That's the sit-ups challenge. Don't know where they don't do sit-ups anymore, right? They do push-ups.
Standing broad jump.
Oh, no standing broad jump.
Sit-ups.
Push-up, sit-up, and running. No more pull-ups.
But it's always been 2.4.
Yeah, always been 2.4.
Wow.
Cool. Okay, so I mean, we've covered a lot. We normally end off with our one Shiok thing over the past few days.
Yeah.
That hopefully you have something that can be shared with our listeners. We can start first.
Yeah.
So you can have a bit of a breather to think of something.
Okay.
Unless you already have it in your mind.
Not yet. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Mine is I think the algorithm on YouTube has been feeding me this Michael Jackson reborn as a Chinese man in China. So there's a street busker who looks, I think of all the Michael Jackson impersonators I've ever seen, like the most uncannily like Michael Jackson. And he dances on the streets of China, and people have been taking quite high quality TikToks of him doing it. And it's pretty amazing to watch because it's just a Chinese dude really looking like Michael Jackson.
And it's not like AI or anything to change the face or
everything is real, and all the moves, all that, like almost just exactly like Michael Jackson, and just dancing for like 5 minutes on the streets of China straight. So there's not like any camera trickery or anything. It's just this guy who just probably loves Michael Jackson so much.
So this was on TikTok?
I saw it on YouTube, but I'm sure it's on TikTok and the millions of views and all.
And what's the account name?
I can't remember exactly, but we'll put the link in the description for those who want to watch. But it's pretty uncanny, yeah. So
never before have you sounded like an uncle this much, lah.
I know. I was just asking Tristen before this, like, hey, you like Michael Jackson? He's like, no, it's not from my time. And I'm like, wow.
Michael Jackson gonna cancel already or something already, right?
I know, but it's just one of those things you grew up with. And,
yeah, Michael Jackson, insane.
Yeah.
He's one of my favorite. His songs are still my favorite.
Yeah,
Michael Jackson.
You cannot replicate like how it's so.
You just play and then the party
my first
starts.
concert ever.
The party just begins when this music
Exactly.
plays,
Not when Tristen is there, lah.
Not when Tristen is there. He's like, what the hell is this boomer
What are
shit?
these people listening to?
Why is he getting cancelled?
Child molestation.
I thought that was long ago.
But he got re-cancelled.
No, there was a documentary when the adults, child
what was it
victims
called?
came out.
I see.
Saving
or Escaping Neverland.
Escaping Neverland. Yeah, correct.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, cool. My one Shiok thing is the third season of Barry, which I finally got into again. It's a HBO series about a deadly assassin who falls in love with acting. and it's like a dark comedy starring Bill Hader.
Yeah.
The first 2 seasons were amazing. I totally missed the third season. So when I wanted to go back and watch the fourth season now, which just came out, I realized I had not watched the third season. So now I'm watching the third season and it's fucking great. It's damn dark. It's so dark. But it's on HBO. Yeah, Barry.
Last season, right?
I think final, fourth and final.
Wow.
Yeah. So Rion.
I have two very Shiok things, and they're tied for first, and I cannot talk about one without talking about the other because it will be seen as biased. But they're both relating to track. They're both female athletes, and the first is my younger sister, Romaine. Like she's been training hard for many years, trying to break 2 minutes and 20 seconds for 800 meters. So for context, that's 7-minute 2.4k pace, but for 2 laps lah. For ladies, it's a barrier that not many have crossed in Singapore. So she managed to do it twice in one day in Taiwan. Finally, after training for a very long time, like Singapore Open, she ran just nice 2 minutes 20 seconds, and she went to Taiwan with me and the team. She ran 2 minutes 19 seconds in the heats, and then the plan was just to go all out in the heats, and she wasn't sure whether she'd qualify for the final, but she did. And her coach told her, "You should go to the final and race again." Like 4 hours later, like you should, like nothing to lose. And she was like, "What?" Because she wasn't prepared to run like 2 races in one day.
Yeah.
And then I also like went to her room, helped her. Like I said, you should take an ice bath. I mixed the protein shake with some electrolytes in there. So she sipped on it, made a coffee for her. She drank. I said, "Okay." My girlfriend said I need to take her to a cat cafe. I can't keep her at the track all day because I didn't know that my sister was going to race again in the final. So I took my girlfriend to the cat cafe, and then I watched my sister's race on the phone, and she ran 2:19 again in the final and got a bronze medal.
Wow!
So we got a silver and a bronze from this family. Wow. So that was very cool, and for someone to see her chasing her dreams for so long and finally getting this. It's very satisfying, and she's trained to the point where she gets injured. She's trained to the point where she sacrifices a lot of time with the family or whatever. And so big congratulations to my sister Romaine and her coach Elangovan for bringing her to this standard. Hopefully one day we can go to SEA Games or something together. That'll be super cool. And then but this performance happened on the same exact day, and if I don't talk about it, it'll be seen as extreme bias towards my sister. But Shanti Pereira, she ran 11.26 seconds for the 100 meters.
Yeah.
New national record. It kind of flew under the radar because it's not at the SEA Games. But people don't really understand how good this performance is, because unless you're in track, you don't really see that 11.26 seconds. This is knocking on the door of world class. It's knocking on the door of Asian Games like medal. And not to put any pressure on Shanti whatsoever, but for her to really get to this level is a testament to whatever she's done over the last few months, like going full-time as an athlete, throwing everything into the pot of bringing her performance to the next level. Of course, a lot of credit to those around her who have supported her and making this possible. Coach Luis Cunha from Portugal, who is now effectively our national team coach for sprints, has been doing a fantastic job. If you look at her now, she looks like a professional sprinter.
Yeah, she looks like. Because in Germany, she broke the national record twice in one day, right?
Yeah, so same as my sister, like heats and then followed by finals.
Yeah. Wow.
Of course, it's a bit harder for 800 compared to 100, but Shanti has got to the point where 2 races in one day she can go all out in both and like score good
it's awesome
in both. So she's definitely one to watch at the Asian Games. It's been so freaking long since we got the Asian Games medal, and out of the talent pool we have now, she's probably the only athlete from Singapore that can really do that lah. So I mean, and even at SEA Games, I think Shanti does fly a bit under the radar, because even though she gets 2 gold medals, people are like, but swimming, like so and so has got 5 or 4 or 6 gold medals. And if you look at the medal count itself, that's a extremely simple argument to make. To me, it's like, hey, fuck you lah. Like, it's totally different sports, man. Like, in swimming, you have athletes doing 8 events in one SEA Games. In track, it's just not possible to do that many. Yeah. It's like physiologically and based on the schedule, we don't run 100 meters forwards, backwards, and sideways, which is effectively what the equivalent of what you'll be doing in swimming, right? Yeah. It sounds ridiculous when I say
800 meters backwards.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's like freestyle, frog style. I mean, like breaststroke, butterfly,
sideways.
And I'm missing one, right? It's freestyle,
but
freestyle, backstroke, butterfly, and Breaststroke. Yeah. I mean, like we don't run like that, right? we don't run sideways.
Wow.
We don't run backwards. There are I see a fair number of comments like that, like, oh wow, but yeah, so and so has won more gold medals in swimming, and like full credit to our swimmers. Obviously, whatever they do is not easy. Like Hua Ting won 60th gold medal or something at SEA Games. I mean, that's massive.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you wouldn't see that's not possible in track. That's not possible in football, for example, where it takes a team of 20 to win one medal. Whereas like one swimmer can win 20 medals. It's just different. So hopefully, I do think that, and put a case for Shanti, I think she can be. Please consider her to be like Sportswoman of the Year for Singapore sports, because just don't look at just the medals. Like that doesn't tell the full story. Every sport is different. Obviously, you want to look at medal count alone, is always going to be a swimmer. That's Sportsman of the Year. Look at the depth of the achievements. Look at what Shanti has accomplished. Like SEA Games record in 200 meters. Now she's run faster than the SEA Games record in 100. Obviously didn't do it at SEA Games, unfortunately. But going forward, the depth of this accomplishment, this is completely new ground. Before Shanti broke the national record for the first time, the national record was 12.0 something by Amanda Chu.
Yeah.
Maybe 12.0 or 12.1. So for Shanti to take that record from our women's record from 12 seconds all the way down to 11.26, that's like
crazy.
That's 3/4 of a second, which is an eternity in sprinting. You're almost out of the camera between like 12 and 11.2.
Yeah.
So she's by one person, she's taken our standards forward by so much, and she's really knocking on the door of Asian class. So very Shiok thing to see in track and field. Fantastic. So approaching the prime now. Let's keep our fingers crossed, and very excited for the future in track and field.
Solid.
Thanks, man. Thanks, Rion, for coming down.
Thank you.
Thanks so much
guys
for coming again. All the best. I'm sure we'll have you soon at some point.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you
man.
so much, guys.
Okay, awesome.
All right. See you again.
Thanks for listening, everyone.